Hello, Mama? It's Kaya. I'm fine. Don't worry.
Hey everyone, Nick here, hope you guys are doing well, and today let's talk about one of the most underrated, common, and yet most difficult parts of human interaction, asking and answering the question, how are you? And here's why I think it's so difficult. Sometimes you'll have a very bad day and want to desperately share that with someone, but you may not know that person well enough, nor do you want to come off as needy or desperate. Sometimes you've also had a bad day, but you choose not to share because you may be at a social gathering or an event of some sorts, and you don't want to burden the conversation or hamper somebody else's mood. And finally, maybe you didn't do that much or simply had a great day, so the answer really is that straightforward. Regardless though, all of these states and mind usually result in a common one-word answer to the question, how are you? Good, fine, great, well, and so on and so forth. And think of it this way, when we ask someone the question, how are you, we rarely ever expect anything more than a one-word answer. In fact, we treat asking the question as this chore of introduction as opposed to a genuine inquiry into someone else's life. If we are taught as a culture to only be fine, great, okay, and well whenever someone asks us that question, how can we ever have real conversation about our emotions? So today's video has one purpose, to encourage you to answer the how are you question a little more seriously and honestly, because though it may add a few minutes more to your life, I promise that it can aid your health and mental well-being. Matthew Lieberman, a psychology professor at UCLA, has coined the term affect labeling, which is basically the process of going through and naming or describing your emotions. And Lieberman's research found that those who could label their emotions and talk openly about them could better handle the negative aspects of life like stress or anxiety better than those who didn't. And you'll see why I'm bringing that up in just a second. When we can define our emotions, that also increases our ability to accept them. So the next time you're answering the how are you question and you open up a little bit, understand that you are turning your emotions into something to scrutinize rather than something to experience, and this can help you disrupt their intensity. In other words, you can acknowledge that you are feeling anxious, but you don't get stressed out about it. And accepting our emotions, both the good and the bad ones, can help us build up our emotional resilience. I point to a university study done that looked into character traits shared by people who all lived to be 100 years old. And what they found was that a healthy sense of emotional expression was common amongst everybody. In other words, they were able to express themselves openly and not bottle up the bad emotions that had plagued them throughout life, and that in some way, shape, or form contributed to their mutual old age. And so my general thoughts on answering the how are you question go something like this. Use fine and good and great when you're in those quick everyday interactions, because unfortunately that's a part of life, and my goal here is not to disrupt every part of your routine. But we should limit it to only those quick everyday interactions. When it comes to talking with our friends or our family or our coworkers, or in general anyone we are trying to get to know better, be specific and honest about the way you are feeling. And that can be in any capacity. If you're doing really well, why are you doing well? What has been going well in your life, or what positive elements have you taken from the last set of weeks? And if you're not doing so well, talk about it, open up a little bit, and be specific and brutally honest about the way that you are feeling. You will often find that sometimes when you say something like, oh, I'm not having the best of days, or I'm doing so-so or average, that might take people aback just a bit. But more often than not, you will find that in a sense, they are showing themselves an unvarnished truth. They are also bonding with you, and it's an incredible show of vulnerability. Because once they see you opening up, they are that much more inspired and motivated to do the exact same. And that results in beautiful, long-lasting friendships. Ultimately, you should never feel afraid or reserved about talking about the way that you feel. And I understand, you may be introverted or you may not like sharing all of that information, and that is totally fine. My goal here is not to convince you to share information that you don't want to. Rather, when you are around people that you trust, or you are in a safe space where you are comfortable opening up, get specific and honest about the way that you are feeling, because I promise that that will aid the development of all of your friendships and relationships and truly take them to the next level. With that, I will leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nikhil. I make videos like this all the time. If you liked what you watched, let me know down below in the comments. Consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, or following me on Twitter and Instagram, where I am also very active. But as always, and most importantly, I will see you guys in the next one.